When you are in professional career, you are going to get into same situation. You will be competing against the best in the world. Your peers, you're always going to feel they are better than you. There will be moments when you will find thinking as if you are nobody. You will end up thinking like that because of your academic standing, maybe because of your ability, maybe because of your background, or maybe because of many other things. You will compare with other people. At that moment, you need to look what differentiates you from the crowd. You need to be absolutely clear about who you are. You need to be very clear what do you want. You need to be very clear why do you want it. You need to be very clear when you want it. You need to be very clear how you want it. Back to my story. I wanted to be somebody back then so badly. I wanted to stand out, be known for something more than my disability. I wanted to prove my other capabilities, and I wanted to make my place in this tiny world. I thought I could have that place if I had more differentiating capabilities than others. I wasn't born talented or gifted or brilliant. I was just an average kid like most of you here. But more often, things you and I achieve is because we genuinely crave to be our better versions. Or many times, you won't even have any choice than to excel. And back then, I didn't have any choice. In 8th grade school, I happened to read the biography of Isaac Newton. He was a brilliant scientist, He did a lot of things, but I think most of us remember him for Newton's 3 laws of physics. But do you know that he was disabled too? He suffered from stuttering, epilepsy, and autism. Still, he discovered the most foundational laws in physics. Isn't it amazing? Then I got interested in reading about other scientists. I read about Thomas Edison. He was deaf. And then I read about Albert Einstein. He had learning disabilities. And world's famous Leonardo da Vinci. He is said to be dyslexic. He's brilliant, but he was also having certain disability. So that struck me. I thought if Newton and all these guys can, why can't I? Sometimes clarity strikes you like this. And then in one moment, the whole path of your professional career becomes clear to you. One day in the school, I remember that my teacher asked me, "What do you want to be?" I want to be a scientist. Imagine one-legged guy who could hardly walk. He is standing in the front of the class and saying, "You wanted to be a scientist." So I'm talking about some 35 years ago. How many kids you think had that kind of crazy goal back then? But then in that classroom, I could clearly see eye-rolling reactions of my classmates. Those eye-rolling reactions told me that was it. This is my best bet to prove myself. How many times do you find that moment in life that tells you, this is it? This is what is going to take you forward. I hardly understood back then what it would take to become a scientist, but I stick to it. But most engineering institutes rejected me because of my disability and condition. They say, "Oh, engineering is not your cup of tea." So I had a hard time getting into an engineering college back then. I was hungry for it. When you are hungry for it, you get it fast. So despite my that condition at the age of 20, I graduated as an electronics engineer. And I went to become $50 trainer a year because I needed to make sure I was ready for what was coming. And in less than 1 year, I was hired as a scientist at one of the CSIR research laboratory. You must wonder that I got it because either I was too brilliant or I was so hardworking. What I learned is that you don't need to be best in the class. You don't need to be the smartest guy on the earth. You don't need to be the brilliant most in your batch. You also don't need to be crazy for your goals. All you need is clarity, because we are living in the world of noise, world of competition, world of information overload. People get distracted. People follow others. People start getting into a race and copy others. And that's what exactly slows people down. When you have total clarity about what you want to be, when you want to be, how you want to be, where you want to be, you move much faster than anybody else. You move faster than people who get distracted by following other or getting into a race with other people. So to move faster in your life, you need to have clarity, because clarity is the new superpower in today's world. But it won't come automatically unless you ask for it, unless you reflect upon it. But problem is that these days we adopt too many complex philosophies in our professional life. We want to look cool or intelligent by following those complex philosophies. But things are sometimes much simpler. In fact, when you seek clarity more often, you will know what it is not meant to be done or what you really don't want to do. So imagine when you're clear about what you don't want to do in life, you wouldn't even waste your time or energy in anything which is irrelevant. When you have clarity, you get a head start, which no one can easily beat. So if you want to be a star performer in a shorter time, do not put your foot onto the pedal before you have the map in your hand. When you use map, you can always reach that location faster, quicker, and more efficiently. So here is the success tip for you. When you have clarity, you'll go way faster than others.